Welcome to Storm Shelter Cinema at Arlington High School, the movie review show where we talk about movies honestly. Today, we'll be reviewing Apollo 13, released in 1995, directed by Ron Howard. I'm your host, Landen Harris, and I am joined today by my co-host, Baylor Littleton.
Apollo 13 is a dramatic action-adventure film based on the true story of the NASA Apollo 13 mission, where an explosion on board the spacecraft forces the astronauts to navigate their way back to Earth with the help of mission control, facing immense challenges and tight time constraints to survive the perilous journey. Starring Tom Hanks as Jim Lovell, Kevin Bacon as Jack Swigert, and Bill Paxton as Fred Hayes, the movie depicts the intense struggle for survival against incredible odds.
This film had its moments of excitement, such as when they lost the oxygen tank in the service module. This was a major problem while the ship crew was finding ways to fix this problem. So was the ground control. Even in this stressful situation, the ship crew worked through their conflict and made it through their hardships. I feel like this film's implicit meaning is about overcoming adversity and achieving success. This is a good motto to stick with because everyone will face some kind of misfortune that they'll have to overcome.
This story is about finding success even in failure. From the re-entry of the spacecraft that relied heavily on the coordinated efforts of everyone involved, to the astronauts on board, to the engineers on the ground, success can be found even in failure. For the Apollo 13 mission, that success was the achievement of bringing the crew back safely against all odds.
This film had a lot of cool shots, and some were probably you didn't know about were filmed that way. The majority of the film is in space, and are probably wondering how did they make it look like that? They were actually in space. Well, Ron Howard used NASA's KC-135, aka the Vomit Comet. The Vomit Comet is a zero-gravity simulator that is set in a plane where it climbs at a 45-degree angle in a parabolic path, making you seem weightless. This was probably the coolest aspect of the movie to me.
The editing in this movie, Apollo 13, is the best element in this film. Ron Howard, the director, also helped edit himself. Apollo 13 relies heavily on the seamless transition of intense real-time sequences and more down-to-earth, human moments to tell the true story of the fateful mission. The editors, Mike Hill and Daniel P. Hanley, blend archived footage, special effects, and rather odd resources to create a narrative that tries to keep tension high throughout. This approach enhances dramatic tension to keep you invested from beginning to end.
This film was not the best of space movies, mainly because of the way it was made. The story of Apollo 13 is amazing because it's such a historical event. I just wish this film didn't take over 2 hours to watch. This could have worked out if they made it more intense and not so slow. I get that this was a biopic, but there was no need to make me feel like I was about to flatline while watching this. This was just very disappointing considering I do like space movies, but this just wasn't it. If you like history, you might enjoy this film, but I give this movie a thumbs down. What'd you think?
I gave it a thumbs down.
No.
It was no good. Too long.
It definitely too long.
Didn't they, correct me if I'm wrong, but they took, over half the movie to actually get into space.
Yes.
And the explosion, which the whole movie is based on, happened over halfway into the movie. I couldn't pay attention for the whole first half of the movie where they were just talking business and garbage to me.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool to find out that, what happened during this mission, because I had no idea, they had to go back around the moon and then sling back. But I thought it was pretty cool, but I feel like they could have just done more, maybe.
They could have shortened the beginning.
Definitely shortened the beginning.
I mean, they just didn't need to do all that. I mean, it's a space movie too. They didn't have to. I guess, the families would care about them, but they kept cutting back to the households and how much the families and all that, and I don't care.
Just get them home.
Just show me the explosion and that might just be me. I like action and all that, but just show me the explosion. I'm in space and all that. Don't show me the families. I don't care.
I do have a question for you. Do you think why do you think Apollo 13 didn't make it to the moon like they did in Apollo 11?
Their oxygen tank exploded. Also, ground crew, There was a whole bunch of factors that probably went into it. I mean, the main thing that
Definitely could
they
have
exploded. I mean, when your
made
oxygen
some
tank explodes, you
precautions.
can't breathe anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really get that anyway. Like, your oxygen tank explodes, like, wouldn't that just blow up your whole ship?
Mm.
Like,
Luckily, it didn't.
what was your favorite scene?
Probably whenever so they first got in space and they thought they were being like they're on TV, but they weren't really on TV, and they're playing that CD tape. I thought that was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. All right, well, thank you for joining us today on Storm Shelter Cinema. We reviewed Apollo 13, released in 1995, directed by Ron Howard. I'm Baylor, and I give this movie a thumbs down. It was no good. My co-host Landon didn't like it either, so that means 2 thumbs down. Sorry, Ron. We'll see you next time at the movies.